In our last part for our class, we are trying to find out our three non-touching loops over here, and ultimately we have got these are our three non-touching loops which you can see over here. And after that, I should consider what is the exact definition of a three non-touching loop. You can see that this L1 is not going to touch with this factor of our L3 and L4 over there. That is why I have considered L1, L3, L4 as our three non-touching loops over here. At our first stage, we are having our single loops over there. Now these are single loops that I have enlisted over there, and over here we have got our two non-touching loops over here. Now this one will be our two non-touching loops. Okay, these are our two non-touching loops which are enlisted over here. Now quite frankly we can say that we have got our 11 two non-touching loops that are present over here, and these are our single loops that are present in our considered part. And after that we do require to find out our three non-touching loops over here, and quite frankly the L1, L3, L4 is our first three non-touching loops over here, L1, L3, L4, and the next one should be our L1, L3, L5, L1, L3, L5. And what is the gain for that one? Just simply multiply this factor over here, and ultimately we are having our resultant gain for that considered part over here. Similarly, for our next three non-touching loop, which is gonna be L1, L3, L6. Now L1, L3, L6, you can see these are our third three non-touching loops over here. And for that fourth one, we have got our L2, L4, L6, L2, L4 and L6. These are our three non-touching loops over here. And last but not the least, we have got L3, L4 and L6 over here. We have missed three non-touching loops in this given part over here. And what is that one? That one should be our H1, H4 and H6. Okay, that one should be our L1, L4 and L6 over here. L1 will be this loop, L2 will be this loop, L3 will be this loop, L4 will be this one, L5 will be this one, and so on. Now we have missed three non-touching loops for this present consideration, which is quite naturally L1, L4 and L6. Okay, L1, this one, L1, L4 and L6. Now what is that gain for that considered part over here? We have got L1, L4, this one, which is been multiplied with our L6. This one is our L6. Now quite naturally minus of our L1, L4, L6, minus of G2, G7, G9, okay, H1, H4, H1, H4, H6. This is our last three non-touching loops over here. We have missed three non-touching loops with the addition of our previous solution steps over here, which I am going to repeat this portion once again. The last recognized three non-touching loop will be L1, L4, L6 over here, which we have considered over here. And what is the overall gain for that loop over here, which is L1, L4, L6. Just simply multiply the gain of this L1, L4 along with this L6 over here, and quite naturally the expression for that overall gain will be our G2, G7, G2, G7, G9, this one, and this one will be H1, H4, H6, H1, H4, H6 over here, which we can see as our three non-touching loops over here. We can see these are our three non-touching loops which are present in our given signal flow graph over there. Now in our next part, we should find out if any four non-touching loops will be present over there. So the next step will be at the first stage we are having our individual loops that have been present over here, and quite naturally we have got 6 individual loops which are present in our given signal flow graph over here. What are that? This one is This one is our single loop L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, L6, and we have named as per our sequence over there. Now in our next step we should find out our two non-touching loops over here, and these are our two non-touching loops. We have got 11 two non-touching loops that are present over here. In our next step we should find out the three non-touching loops from this given overall signal flow graph over there, and quite naturally we have got these are our three non-touching loops over here. And at the last stage we should find out our four non-touching loops over here. And what is that? The four non-touching loops that are present consideration over here, which is four non-touching loops. Four non-touching loops. And what is that one? That one should be our L1, L3, L4 and L6. Okay, you can see that L1 is not directly touching with our L3, L3 is not directly touching with our L4, and last but not the least, L4 is not directly touching with our L6. Now this is our only four non-touching loops which are present in our given signal flow graph over here, which is quite naturally L1, L3, L1, L3, L4, L6. L4, L6. Now, how do you get the overall gain for that one? Just simply multiply this L1, simply this L1, L3 along with this L4, L6 over here. L4, L6 this one, and this one is our L1, L3. Just simply multiply 1 and 11 for our two non-touching loops over here, and you are having your answer for that one over here. Now for that one we have got L1, L3 is G2, G4, G2, G4, and L4, L6 gain factor will be our G7, G9. Now G7, this one is G7, G9, and for that feedback or H factor over here we have got our H1, H3, H1, H3, this one will be H4, H6, H4, H6, H4 over here. Now this is our four non-touching loops over here. Now we have got our four non-touching loops over here, and we have got our six individual loops which are present over here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as our six individual loops over here. And for our three non-touching loop we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we have got three non-touching loops over here. In our next part we should form the delta formulation for that one factor over there. But before I go into that, I want to repeat this portion once again. First, we are having our forward path over there, and in our next stage we should have our loop consideration over here. Now at our first stage we are having our individual loops over here, and quite naturally according to this signal flow graph diagram we have got our six individual loops over there. And in our next stage we are going to find out our two non-touching loops over here, and after all those considerations over there, or if you just do follow our previous part of our solution, you are having the concepts cleared over there, that we are having 11 two non-touching loops over there. In our next stage we should find out our three non-touching loops over here, and quite naturally we have got our three non-touching loops over here. And at our last stage or last part for our consideration, we are having our four non-touching loops, single one or the four non-touching loops which are present over there, and it is impossible to have our five non-touching loops over there. So we are going to stop up to these four non-touching loops over here. Now this portion is absolutely clear while considering these loops over there. In our next part we are going to form the delta with the help of these loops over there. That is the first part, that is the consideration while forming our or while considering our Mason gains formulation over there. I hope you have totally understood up to this one. If you still have any doubts, please let us know in the comment section for better understanding. Do like, do share our videos, and keep following our channel. Just wait for my next part. If you like my video, so what are you waiting for? Please do subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon for more updates and stay tuned to the channel. Thank you and goodbye.